Hello movie and cinema lovers. In this video we briefly discuss the timeline and storyline of the Alien film series as a continuous and unified story to gain a better understanding of the events and happenings of the story. The Alien film series includes 7 films, a series, a number of short films, and a number of computer games, comic books, and novels. The order of the films in the series, according to the timeline of their stories, is as follows: Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien, Alien Romulus, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. Let's start. In the year 2089, archaeologists Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway discover a star map in Scotland that matches other maps from an ancient culture. They interpret this as an invitation to the pioneers of humanity. Elizabeth Shaw calls them the engineers. Peter Wieland, owner and founder of the tech giant Wieland, funds an expedition aboard a scientific vessel to follow the map to the distant moon LV-223. Prometheus lands on a barren, mountainous surface near a large artificial structure. The team explores the interior and discovers stone cylinders, a monolithic sculpture of a humanoid head, and the severed body of a large spaceship. Shaw identifies the body as an engineer and beheads it to return it to the Prometheus. The crew finds other bodies that lead them to believe that the species is extinct. The expedition is cut short when a storm forces the crew to return to the ship. David secretly takes a cylindrical vase with him, while most of them ooze a black liquid. In the ship's laboratory, it is determined that the engineer's DNA matches that of humans. David examines the contents of the vase. He deliberately spikes a drink with a small microbial sample and gives it to an unsuspecting Holloway, who drinks it. Shortly after, Shaw and Holloway have sex. David discovers a control room containing a live engineer in stasis and a holographic star map showing coordinates to Earth. Meanwhile, Holloway quickly falls ill. He is rushed back to the Prometheus, but Meredith Vickers, the mission director, refuses to board the ship. At her insistence, he is burned with a flamethrower. Later, a medical scan reveals that Shaw, despite previously being infertile, is now in an advanced stage of pregnancy. Fearing the worst, she uses an automated surgical bed to remove the squid-like creatures from her stomach. Shaw then discovers that Wieland, Vickers' father, has been in stasis on the Prometheus. Yannick, Prometheus' captain, suggests to Shaw that the structure was actually an engineer military base that had lost control of a dangerous biological weapon. The structure also houses a spacecraft. Wieland and the team return to the structure with Shaw. David awakens the engineer from stasis and speaks to him to explain what Wieland wants. The engineer launches the spacecraft back toward Earth, decapitating David and killing Wieland and his team. Shaw, desperate, escapes and warns Yannick that the engineer threatens to destroy all life on Earth, convincing him to destroy the spacecraft. Yannick and the remaining crews sacrifice themselves when the Prometheus collides with the alien spacecraft and the lifeboat. The engineer's disabled spacecraft crashes into Earth. Shaw heads for the lifeboat and discovers that his alien child is alive and has grown to gigantic proportions. The engineer opens the lifeboat's airlock and attacks Shaw, who releases his alien child on him. The lock forces an egg down the engineer's throat, forcing him to submit. Shaw recovers David's remains and heads for the engineer's home planet to find out why they wanted to destroy humanity. With David's help, he launches another engineer's spacecraft and escapes LV-223. In the lifeboat left on the planet, an alien creature emerges from the dead engineer's chest. 11 years later, in 2104, the Covenant starship is on its way to colonize the planet Auriga-6, carrying 2,000 settlers and 1,140 cryogenically frozen human embryos. A supernova explosion damages the ship and kills the settlers, including the captain, Branson. Walter, an advanced android, awakens key personnel to deal with the situation. During repairs, the crew detects a human voice emanating from an unknown, habitable planet. The crew sends a probe to the planet's surface, where an exploration team tracks a sonic transmission to a downed spaceship. The crew of a rover sends a probe to the planet's surface. 2 of the crew are inadvertently infected by airborne spores from a local fungus. Alien creatures known as neomorphs rapidly grow inside the 2, killing them in the process and then attacking the team, resulting in the rover being destroyed. One of the neomorphs is killed before the survivors are rescued by David, Walter's former model. David leads the survivors to a temple surrounded by thousands of dead humanoids. He claims that he and Chief Science Officer Elizabeth Shaw, the only survivors of the spaceship Prometheus that disappeared 10 years ago, have reached the alien spaceship. However, they lose control and the ship crashes, resulting in Elizabeth's death and the release of a deadly pathogen that wipes out the planet's fauna. The pathogen infects any living thing, either killing it or creating aggressive hybrids. David reveals his disappointment with Walter's model for its lack of creativity and humanity, and mocks their inventor, Peter Weiland, as a worthless creature compared to his creations. David confesses his love for Elizabeth, the only person who treated him kindly. When a neomorph infiltrates the temple and kills another member of the team, David attempts to communicate with it, but is enraged when Orm kills him. Confronting David, Orm discovers that the android has been testing a pathogen to engineer new creatures. David tricks Orm into approaching a facehugger parasite, which fatally impregnates her with a xenomorph embryo. Walter discovers Elizabeth's dissected corpse, which David had used in his experiments. David confesses to intentionally releasing the pathogen and expresses his disgust with humanity, which he believes is a dying species that his creatures will replace. Walter challenges David, pointing out his own errors in understanding human history and stating that David's conclusions are flawed. David apparently fails Walter, who is unaware of his own self-healing abilities. David attempts to use Daniels as a replacement for Elizabeth, but Walter intervenes and fights him. The xenomorph kills another member of the team, Cole, after Lupe is rescued from the xenomorph. Tennessee, the ship's pilot, uses the Covenant's cargo lift to rescue Daniels, Lupe, and Walter. Daniels crushes the xenomorph with the lift's grapple arm, allowing the group to return to the Covenant. The next morning, a xenomorph emerges from Lupe's chest and kills him. Daniels and Tennessee drag the creature to the Covenant's landing port and launch it into space. The ship resumes its journey to Auriga 6. When Walter stasis binds Daniels, he discovers that he is actually David. Before he can do anything, the stasis pod renders him unconscious. He raises 2 facehugger embryos, then evaluates the dormant colonies, intending to use them in his experiments. 18 years after the events of Covenant, the commercial space tug Nostromo returns to Earth in static mode. The ship's computer mother detects a message from a nearby asteroid and awakens the crew. In accordance with the company's policy of investigating messages indicating intelligent life, they land on the surface. Dallas, Kane, and Lambert discover that the message is coming from an abandoned spaceship. Inside is a giant, fossilized alien corpse with a hole in its torso. Meanwhile, Mother partially decodes the message, leading Ripley to realize that it is a warning and not the distress signal she initially thought. Kane enters a chamber containing hundreds of large eggs. When he touches one, a living, arthropod-like creature leaps out, penetrates his helmet, and attaches itself to his face. On the Nostromo, Ripley refuses to let them on board, citing quarantine regulations, but Ash disobeys her. Ash tries to pull the creature out of Kane's face. When he realizes that its highly corrosive, acidic blood could damage Kane and the ship's hull, he gives up. The creature eventually separates from his body and dies. After the crew returns to space, Kane regains consciousness and appears healthy. During the crew's last meal before returning to stasis, he suddenly chokes and has a seizure as a small alien creature emerges from his chest and escapes into the ship. After throwing Kane's body into space, the crew uses tracking devices to locate and kill the creature. The crew realizes that the alien is using air ducts, and Dallas enters one with a flamethrower to drive the creature into an air vent, but kills it. Lambert, in desperation, suggests escaping in a small boat. Ripley herself gains access to the mother and discovers a secret corporate directive. Ash must return to study with the alien, and the crew is useless. Ash attempts to kill her when she confronts him. Parker intervenes, decapitating Ash, revealing that he is an android. The survivors reactivate Ash's head, which reads the alien cannot be killed, and admires it. Parker burns Ash. The remaining crew decide to initiate a self-destruct sequence and escape in the shuttle, but the alien kills Parker and Lambert while they are gathering supplies. Now alone, Ripley initiates the sequence, but the alien blocks her path to the shuttle. She tries to cancel the self-destruct, but fails. She arrives with Jones in the shuttle, as the Nostromo explodes. As Ripley prepares to stasis, she discovers that the alien has placed itself in a narrow chamber. She dons a spacesuit, loads a grappling gun, and straps herself to a chair before it begins releasing gases to draw the alien out of its hiding place. She attempts to attack him, but he opens the shuttle's door. The resulting pressure drop knocks the alien into the door frame. Ripley shoots it with her gun, launching it into space, but the gun gets caught in the closing shuttle door, throwing the alien into the engine bay. She fires the engines, burning the alien and blowing it up. After recording her report, she places Jones and herself in stasis to begin their journey to Earth. 20 years later in 2142, a Weyland-Yutani explorer recovers a large cocoon from the wreck of the USCSS Nostromo. Months later, on the ruined Jackson Star colony on the ever-dark planet LV-410, orphaned colonist Rain Carradine discovers that the Weyland-Yutani have forcibly extended his employment contract. Determined to escape, he teams up with his foster brother Andy, a broken android reprogrammed by his father, his ex-boyfriend Tyler, his pregnant sister Kay, their cousin Bjorn, and Bjorn's half-sister Navarro. The group hires a Corblanc 4 cargo truck to reach Renaissance, a seemingly abandoned Weyland-Yutani station divided into the Romulus and Remus modules, and plans to steal Cryostasis equipment to survive the 9-year journey to Yuaga 3, a seemingly ideal planet not affiliated with Weyland-Yutani. Tyler and Bjorn attempt to recover the Cryostasis fuel, but inadvertently cause dozens of facehugger parasites to be locked up and released. Eventually, Rain upgrades Andy's security access using a controlled chip from the station's injured science officer android. Andy leads the group to safety, but not before doing so, a facehugger impregnates Navarro. Rain reactivates Rook, who reveals that the cocoon contained the xenomorph that killed most of the Nostromo crew. Renaissance scientists experimented on the alien and reverse-engineered the facehuggers. However, the xenomorph escaped and massacred most of the crew. The remaining people died when the xenomorph was killed, as its acidic blood melted into Remus' body, causing an explosive decompression. Bjorn attempts to escape with Navarro and Kay on the Corblanc ship, but a baby xenomorph emerges from Navarro's chest and kills him, causing the ship to crash into the Romulus lair and accelerate the station toward the rings of the planet LV-410. Kay escapes aboard the Romulus while being chased by the creature. Rain and Tyler attempt to rescue him, but Andy, believing the xenomorph is using him as bait, refuses to open the door between them. Rook orders Andy to retrieve Z-01, a potent liquid extracted from the mass that can rapidly rewrite and adapt DNA. Weyland-Yutani intends to use it to create genetically perfect humans capable of growing in space. He orders it to be taken to Jackson Star or he will not release Corblanc. Rain and Tyler arm themselves with weapons, but Andy warns them not to harm the xenomorph to prevent another explosive depressurization. The group finds a xenomorph lair and rescues a critically injured Kay. Andy gives him a vial of Z-01 to cure him, which he keeps. They are attacked by a horde of strange alien creatures, and Tyler sacrifices himself to protect Rin and Kay. Rin drags Kay to safety and returns to save Andy. Rin disables the station's gravity, allowing him to shoot them without their blood reaching their bodies. When gravity is reactivated, Rin is confronted by the strange Navarro creature, but Andy is unable to stop him. Rain and Andy escape aboard the Corbelan as Renaissance is destroyed by LV-410's rings. Rin prepares Andy for the journey to Yuga 3. Cave, who has injected herself with Z01, gives birth to a human xenomorph hybrid mutated by the substance. The hybrid kills K before Rin throws it into the rings of LV-410, crushing it. After determining a course for Yuga 3, Rin and Andy enter a frozen state. 37 years later, Ellen Ripley has been trapped in a space shuttle for 57 years after the destruction of her spaceship, the Nostromo. Ripley is rescued and interrogated by her employers, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. They question her claims that alien eggs are found on a derelict ship on the exoplanet LV-426, now home to a terraforming colony. After losing contact with the colony, Weyland-Yutani agent Carter Burke and Colony Marine Lieutenant Gorman ask Ripley to accompany them on their investigation. Ripley meets the colony Marines on the spaceship Silico, but is distrustful of their robot, Bishop. A small ship drops the crew off at LV-426, where they find a war-torn colony and 2 live aliens being held in tanks. The only alien found is a traumatized young girl named Newt. At the center of the station, the Marines discover newly hatched eggs, dead creatures being held in their arms, and cocooned aliens being used as incubators for alien embryos. When the inexperienced Gorman panics, Ripley takes command and crashes her armored personnel carrier into the nest to rescue Corporal Dwayne Hicks and Privates Hudson and Vasquez. Hicks orders the ship to rescue the survivors, but an alien smuggler kills the pilots and causes the ship to crash into the station. The survivors, low on ammunition and supplies, barricade themselves inside the colony facility. Ripley learns that Burke has ordered the colonists to investigate an abandoned spaceship containing alien eggs, intending to recover them for use in biological weapons research. Before Bishop can expose Burke, he reports that the ship's crash has damaged the power plant's cooling system and will soon overheat and explode, destroying the colony. Bishop volunteers to travel to the sender colony and remotely guide the remaining ship to the surface. Sleeping in a medical lab, Ripley and Newt awaken to find themselves trapped between 2 freed aliens. Ripley accuses Burke of releasing the aliens to implant alien embryos in her and Newt's bodies and smuggle them out of quarantine on Earth. In the ensuing fight, the aliens kill Burke, subdue Hudson, and injure Hicks. Newt is separated from Ripley and captured by the aliens. Ripley takes Hicks to the ship, but refuses to let Newt go, arming herself before going to the processing station's hive to rescue him. As they escape, they encounter the alien queen among dozens of eggs. When one of the eggs hatches, Ripley burns the eggs and detonates the queen's brood. Pursued by the angry queen, Ripley and Newt reach the ship and escape with an unconscious Bishop and Hicks moments before the station explodes, engulfing the colony in a nuclear blast. On Silico, the queen, hiding in the ship's landing gear, attacks the group. The queen cuts Bishop in half and advances on Newt, but Ripley fights the creature off using a cargo loader in an outer suit and throws it through an airlock, while a wounded Bishop protects Newt. Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop then fall into a deep sleep for their return journey to Earth. That same year, shortly after escaping LV-426, an egg that had managed to board the Colonial Marine starship Silico hatches and releases a facehugger. A fire breaks out and the ship's computer ejects an escape pod containing Ellen Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and the injured android Bishop, who are in cryosleep. The pod is located in Fiorina Fury 161, a maximum security correctional facility where male prisoners are held. Clemens, the prison's chief physician, wakes her up and informs her that she is the sole survivor. Ripley insists that Clemens perform an autopsy on Newt and that his and Hicks' bodies be cremated, fearing that Newt may contain an alien embryo. Despite the protests of the prison warden and his assistant Aaron, the autopsy is performed and no embryo is found. Their bodies are thrown into the incinerator. Elsewhere in the prison, a 4-legged alien emerges from Spike. Ripley finds the wounded Bishop in the prison's dumpster. Ripley returns to the infirmary and reactivates Bishop, who confirms that a facehugger has come to Fiorina with Weyland-Yutani's knowledge, and then requests a permanent prison lockdown. The alien grows larger and kills Murphy, Boggs, and Rains. Ripley informs Andrews of her previous encounters with the xenomorph and suggests that they all work together to hunt and kill it. Their only hope is a rescue ship sent by Weyland-Yutani for Ripley. The alien attacks Ripley and Clemens in the prison infirmary, killing him and trapping Clemens. However, he mysteriously saves her and retreats. Ripley gathers the prisoners and suggests that they pour flammable toxic waste into the ventilation system and light it to flush out the alien. However, her intervention causes a premature explosion, killing several prisoners. With Aaron's help, Ripley scans herself using the escape pod's medical equipment and finds an alien queen embryo growing inside her. After this discovery, she learns that 2 aliens have been on Sulaco and that Weyland-Yutani intends to trap the alien, which is laying eggs in her body, in the hopes of turning it into a biological weapon. The alien will not kill her because of the fetus she is carrying, so Ripley begs Dylan to do it. They devise a plan to lure the alien into the foundry and drown him in molten lead. This bait-and-switch scheme results in the deaths of all the remaining prisoners except Dylan and Morse. Dylan sacrifices himself to point the alien at the mold, while Morse pours molten lead on them. Although the alien is covered in molten metal, it escapes the mold. Ripley activates the fire sprinklers, cutting off the alien from the heat shock. The Weyland-Yutani team arrives, including a man who looks like Bishop and claims to be Bishop's creator. He tries to convince Ripley to undergo surgery to remove the alien queen embryo, claiming that the embryo will be destroyed. Ripley refuses and steps backwards onto a moving platform that Morse places on the furnace. The Weyland-Yutani team shoots Morse in the leg to stop him. Aaron stabs the Bishop lookalike with a wrench and is killed by the commandos. Ripley throws herself into the furnace, holding the baby queen captive as it erupts from her. Morse, the sole survivor, is pulled out as Ripley's final diary recording from the Nostromo plays. 202 years after Ellen Ripley's death, a military scientist on the starship USM Auriga creates a clone of her, Ripley 8, using DNA from blood samples taken from Fiorina Fury 161. The xenomorph queen's DNA is combined with Ripley's DNA, resulting in the clone growing with an embryo inside her. The scientists extract the embryo, nurture it, and collect its eggs, keeping Ripley 8 alive for further study. As a result of the xenomorph queen's DNA, the clone has enhanced powers and reactions, acidic blood, and a psychic connection to xenomorphs, making her more compassionate towards the humans she encounters. Additionally, the xenomorph's genetic memory allows the clone to retain some of Ripley's memories. A group of mercenaries board their ship, the Betty, and deliver several abducted humans who were in stasis. Military scientists use the humans as hosts for the aliens, breeding several adult xenomorphs for study. The Betty's crews soon encounter Ripley 8. The adult xenomorphs escape their prison by killing one of their own and using its acidic blood to burn down their enclosures. They capture Dr. Jonathan Gediman, damage the Auriga ship, and kill most of the crew who failed to evacuate, including General Perez and Elgin. Military scientist Dr. Wren reveals that the ship's default order in an emergency is to return to Earth. Ripley 8, the mercenaries, Wren, a soldier named DiStefano, and the surviving xenomorph host, Purvis, realizing that this will unleash the xenomorphs on Earth, decide to head to Betty and use it to destroy Auriga. Along the way, Ripley 8 discovers a laboratory containing the strange results of 7 previous failed attempts to clone Ellen Ripley. While the group is examining the damaged ship, they are pursued by 2 xenomorphs. One is killed and the other kidnaps Hillard. As they escape through the kitchen, the xenomorph returns and blinds Christie, who sacrifices herself to kill the creature. Wren betrays the group and shoots Call, revealing himself to be an artificial being in his survival. Call confesses that he is one of the legendary alien race of Weyland's artificial beings called the Etans. Ripley, who knows what androids can do, takes Call to a small chapel and forces him to connect himself to the station's computer. Call, using his ability to communicate with Auriga's systems, sets the ship on a collision course with Earth, hoping to destroy the xenomorphs in the crash. Ripley 8 is captured by a xenomorph while the others head for Betty. Ren, who had already boarded the ship, shoots Purvis, takes Call hostage, and demands that he prevent a collision. A wounded Purvis attacks Ren and engages him, causing his xenomorph embryo to emerge, killing them both. The survivors shoot and kill the teenage xenomorph. Ripley 8 is taken to the xenomorph lair, where she finds Gedimon alive and partially cocooned. The xenomorph queen, who has created a womb within herself due to genetic contamination with Ripley 8, gives birth to a xenomorph with distinctly human characteristics. The hybrid xenomorph, unable to bond with the queen, recognizes Ripley 8 as its mother, and kills the xenomorph queen and Gedimon. Ripley 8 takes advantage of this distraction to escape, making her way to Betty. The newborn xenomorph reaches the ship and attacks Call. Ripley 8 saves Call by distracting the xenomorph. Ripley 8 uses her acidic blood to blow a hole in a window and push the xenomorph through it. Ripley 8 watches in tears as the pressure drops dramatically, pulling the creature out of the hole and sending its powdered remains flying into space. The countdown on the Auriga continues as Ripley 8, Call, Johnner, and Reyes escape in the Betty. The Auriga collides with Earth, causing a large explosion. As they look down at Earth, Call asks what Ripley 8 wants to do next. "I don't know. I'm a stranger here myself," she replied. In the next video I will explore 3 important and influential figures, Peter Wieland, Elizabeth Shaw, and David. Don't miss that video. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Help me make more videos by clicking the like button and following me.